We are live. Hi, everyone. We're just checking that everything's working out. Seems it is. Yes, okay. Okay. Well, welcome to our weekly live session. This week's special because we're celebrating our 1,000 subscriber um milestone. Yes, I forgot about the word. Sorry. So yeah, we're celebrating actually our first milestone, which was to get 1,000 subscribers, and I'm very, very happy to be here saying this and talking about this because at the beginning for us was a little bit like, well, it's hard, but it's I don't know how hard it would be, but it has been a very good journey with you guys, and we've enjoyed making these lives. Today is gonna be a different kind of day because I'm gonna be drawing, like, I have to draw some stuff for work, but these are gonna be some thumbnails. Well, not thumbnails. I'm gonna be drawing like a bigger drawing this time, which is gonna be with pencils, some inks on top, and then I'm gonna be making a little bit more of a finished illustration if I have the time. This is not gonna be as long as usual. It might be like an hour tops. Like, yeah. So let's see what we can get on our live session. I don't see anyone here yet. Let me just check. I'm not getting. So I'm just gonna go real quick and start drawing. So now I'm gonna be drawing some Street Fighter stuff, composition. Not used to have all this stuff. I'm gonna be drawing Street Fighter versus X-Men actually. So I'm gonna be drawing Ryu and Wolverine for this piece. But first, I'm gonna be placing the rough sketch. I'm using this vermilion pencil. It's erasable. If someone's writing on the chat, I don't know. I'm not, for some reason I'm not getting anything. If maybe no one's writing yet, but I'm not able to see. So right now I'm working on this illustration, right? So we have Ryu here. It's gonna be looking downwards. We're gonna have Wolverine on this side. Hi Samantha. Thanks for joining in. Yes, have your sketchbooks, draw along. That's great. Let's draw together. Right now I'm drawing kind of a strange angle. Thank you, thank you. We're at least 1,000 now, which has been a great milestone to achieve. Let's see if we can reach 2,000 soon. But for what we have now, we are very grateful. Thank you so much. We're drawing here Ryu charging a Hadouken here. Hi, Thunder Fox. Thank you so much. It's been everything through your support on the channel. We're making this illustration of Ryu versus Wolverine, and then I'm gonna be making another one. But these are like basically like giant thumbnails. It's gonna be for something else. I was looking at thank you so much. We're just planning right now. It's gonna be like an airborne Hadouken, like a Shinku Hadouken, the stronger version, the super critical art, I believe it's called now. I'm more of a Street Fighter 4 fan, so for me it's like they're called supers and ultras, but now they're called like I believe super arts and critical arts. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe I forgot, but no, they're pretty. Yeah, they're called CAs now. I want to get my hands on Street Fighter 6 every now and then, and I have it here at home, but it's like I never had the time to play it. Hey Baku, thank you so much. They're super arts now, or they're critical arts now? I have in my head like seeing like a CA. Whenever I have the time, I do check out some YouTube videos of like top ranked matches, as they call it, and every now and then. Oh, okay, criticals. That's like okay. Like when it changes the animation, right? Like it does like more, like a fancier version of it. Right now we're like drawing here the phalanxes for Ryu. Like they should be like strong here to feel the zoomed in version of these hands, right? We're constructing the sketch, but at the same time, it's being transferred into the final piece, right? Ryo's still stuck in Diamond 4 and ranks. Oh damn. And it's gotten better, right? Like Ryo at the beginning of before the nerves and all that stuff, it was like he was weaker at the beginning, right? And it got stronger with the buffs and stuff. That I remember. I don't know. Maybe I just want Ryo to do good. Just have to make something. I was just making sure that the leg that's supposed to be up is either the right or the left, and it's gonna be the left leg because it's making it like a cross, right? Like he's in the air, and in Street Fighter versus X-Men, or I mean X-Men versus Street Fighter or Marvel vs. Capcom, they have these super jumps, so characters tend to go way higher than normal fighting games like Street Fighter 6. But saying, I think they were just preparing him for Sagat when he was added. Yeah, and Sagat is super strong, right? From what I've seen, like he has like some high damage combos with not too much of a meter usage, or that's what it seems. I'm not an expert on the matter. It just looks like he does, like, I don't know, he comes firms like a normal, and he gets like, I don't know, like half the health bar with a single combo. It's like, wow. Back in the day, he didn't have any, like, combos weren't that long for Sagat. Yeah, me neither. I just bought the game but didn't download the second or third. I don't know. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Anatomy is my favorite topic to draw. That's why I chose. I have to mix various compositions right now for commissions and stuff, but I chose this one because I wanted to draw some anatomy. I don't know. I don't know what to do with this area. It might be like maybe. let's think about something like this. And we make like a giant 2 on the back, like they do back in the day. Kingdom Hearts 2 had this, like something like Street Fighter versus X-Men versus Street Fighter 2, and some like a subtitle here, and maybe some power on the hand. Claws, they go here. Usually they do like a grid for this kind of stuff, but today I just went direct. It's not like I'm still using a safety net with the pencil itself, right? It's not like I'm drawing with ink, but still, like without planning, it's with using the whole page. Sometimes it can be like a little bit daunting, but we went like this today. So sometimes when I'm using when I'm doing this kind of compositions where the light is like basically being generated from a certain angle, I like to mark the shadow mapping like this. Like I draw the contours and stuff, but I also mark it where the light's hitting the strongest, just to know how to know where exactly when I'm gonna start rendering or whatever, like anything that goes beyond just drawing the lines themselves. I like to have this, even if I color it, like if it's gonna be like a stronger light source, I like to add these kind of lines beforehand. And if I leave it like this and I don't draw like a finished illustration, it looks good, like it has impact. My signature here. If you can see my face right now, I'm making these faces while I draw, because I need to understand like how like the kinetic part of it, like feeling how to make an expression, like where it's the tension of the pose. And that's why I had to stand up for this one, because I'm not drawing the whole thing. I'm just drawing this angle and this portion of the body of Ryu, so it makes it easier for me to understand how it feels, like if it's like balanced or not. That's why I add those kind of stuff. And as I said, for the ones that are joining in right now, this is gonna be a shorter live. It's gonna be an hour, because there's too many stuff that's going on with work right now. I'm jumping through projects, so we're gonna have like a slower pace of live sessions right now. Hi Tony, thanks for joining in, and thank you as well for being part of this 1,000 subscriber mark and always being here every week. We don't take those for granted. We're really grateful for all your support. I've had conversations with some clients that get commissions that it's very important for them to have like a sense of trust, obviously, with the artist, and it has worked very very well because it's like, of course, if you trust the artist, you're more inclined to get uh, like bigger pieces, whatever, because you feel like it's gonna be worth, not only because you like the art of the artist itself, but because you feel like it's you have a there's a connection between the art and the piece and yourself as a commissioner. So that's I know sometimes it's not easy to have uh, a communication with clients or customers, I'd say, rather than clients. It's a better. I think it's a better word. I don't know. I'm not sure, right? But it feels like sometimes we can get lost between just doing our stuff and not being polite enough, or at least friendly enough with other people. So it helps. Also, I'm more inclined to be more, oh yeah, like just talking loud or being more expressive right now, but because I'm drawing, like drawing's not easy, right? Like it's just, it needs too much stuff, like a lot of terms and a lot of focus points to make it proper and properly. So that's why sometimes I'm like I get a little bit quiet because I have to think what I'm doing. Especially when because of the majority of the YouTube videos or the YouTube lives we've done have been composing, right? And composing is always like, imagine, I don't know, speaking with someone about something you know, but you don't know where to start. Like if you're like a history teacher, or you're a history professional or whatever, and you know history from bunch of countries, you know, with history of a lot of stuff, and just jumping in from a random part of history without having like a topic, or just like going from there, can be hard, right? And also for the one that is listening, it can be hard, like just to get it from anywhere of the conversation. So it's like, I believe it's kind of the same thing. Hi there, thanks for joining in. I was saying, well, not properly right now, but this is a composition that I'm drawing because I'm making a lot of work right now. This is a composition of Ryu versus Wolverine, where I'm working basically like a cover kind of composition, right, for a game. Let's see. I'm gonna raise a little bit so we get a better view of what we're doing. Where is it? Yeah, it's here. Hope you've been enjoying these live weekly sessions so far. We're gonna be adding a little bit with a little bit yellow where the direct light is gonna be hitting. Even though the Hadoken is blue, I'm not gonna consider it as a yellow light source, and I'm gonna be using my blue for the um, reflected light. Kind of like an animation, right? Oh, like the Kamehameha in the anime is blue, but in the colored manga is yellow. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that it was yellow. The more you know, you can learn something every day. I could swear it was like yellow, kami, and blue everywhere. But this is a manga version, and then what I'm doing is because when we're making a sketch like this, it's good to know where we're at, right? Let's make here like a lot of animators use this brand as well of pencils because it's very useful and it can be erased. Yeah, me neither. I couldn't. Tony says, how long have you seen to spend working on anatomy part, then move on? Move on to what part? To inking? Or which? Right now, like, I'm just placing, like, render notes, right? Like, where the hits, light's hitting, that's still part of the sketch, and it's still part of the anatomy part, because you have to take into consideration the volumes, right? Of how everything's working on. That, yeah, I don't know. It's not about time itself. It's like being comfortable of how your sketch is going and what is it for, right? And if it's gonna be finished on that stage. For me, this is gonna be basically something that I'm gonna be scanning and then inking digitally. So I'm not gonna be making the whole thing here. And this is basically, like I said, like a giant thumbnail, because I'll be making more options later, but I wanted to be making a composition for you guys in this video as well. Like as I said here, I'm gonna be drawing where the reflected light, or basically the other light source is coming from. Like here. So for me, it's very important to be understanding how this shape works, and like seeing, okay, so this part is going through here, this area, like it's curved and it's thick. It's not like it's just a thin line, right? Like it's not just a thin part. It's like it's a gi. It's reused gi, so it has to be thick, especially on that area. And it helps right now to make sure of how everything's going. And I'm gonna be making a pencil drawing on top as well. Basically like I don't know if it's Ganga. I don't know the name exactly. I forgot. Like I always forget. Doga or Genka in animation. I'm pretty sure someone knows here. And we'll be like, yeah, it's this one. You see, so we're adding details to this composition using just color variation to be understanding each part of the drawing itself. I don't know if some of you will go to La Mole in about 3 weeks, I feel. Maybe less. Maybe more. But I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there in La Mole. I'm gonna be taking some of my books. I'm gonna be taking some of my covers. So we're gonna be there. It'll be amazing to meet you in person. It's gonna be in La Ciudad de Mexico. In, as I said, like 3 weeks, I feel. Seems appropriate because this is, or maybe, I don't know, 2 weeks. No, can be, right? We are at 18. 2 weeks from now. Yeah, it's gonna be 3 weeks. Tony says, right now I'm stuck on how to combine gesture with structure in my anatomy. It's because we have to nail the first one down. Like, which are you most inclined to learn? So if you're dancing with anatomy a lot, or you're like making gesture drawings, you have to be like aware what are you gonna be perfect in first, and then be like, okay, how do I add this on top? For me, it's like, these are shapes, right? I know how the shape's gonna be in the end, how it's gonna look, because of the visual memory. It's like, okay, so this should be looking like that. A lot of stuff is, you have to be like adding to your visual library, like what do you need, and practice it also kinetically, and like drawing it as most as you can. But it's not about drawing a lot, it's about understanding what you're drawing. So you have to look at your drawings and see where exactly you feel you're like having trouble. And it's like, oh, why is it? Because I'm not using this type of line to define gesture or something like that. Like, that's important as well. Like understanding why it's not working out, because in the end it's a drawing, right? It has a logic part. And right now I'm basically using the same brand for everything, which is Uni. Even the sharpener itself is an Uni palette, and these three that were recommended by a great friend of mine, Rodrigo Yoshimiya, or Yoshimiya. He's a great illustrator from Japan that I've met through my journeys, and because it's also a part of the Enking collectible. And he has taught me a lot of neat tricks on how to make some under drawing sketches. And most of this is from, like I said, from the same brands. Like, they make too much good stuff. I have a like a fan project that I did. Well, I'll still want to do it, but they were only basically like character designs. Yo, what's up? Thanks for joining in. Um, it was a project called exactly like this Street Fighter X member Street Fighter 2, and I was making combinations of characters, like let's say Sagat with Colossus and Akuma with Wolverine. And I didn't make like I think that the obvious mix was Sabretooth with Sagat because of the tiger and the giant stuff. But I felt like if I made Colossus with like let's say Zangief, as it's been like moved towards, like because he has a like Zangief has an out that it looks exactly like a fusion between those two characters, make a Zangief. And it's been like channeled through that, right? But I wanted to make my own mix, so I did Zangief with Sabretooth, which I feel like it also strongly fits. Oh yeah, things are going really good right now. Just making some prelims for a work that I'll be making, something that I was commissioned, so it was on right down my alley. But yeah, everything has been moving amazing. Thanks for asking. I believe this is like our 7th or 8th live now. I lost track right now. Maybe I don't know how.
8.
Oh yeah, this is our 8th one. So it's been quite the milestone as well in that, right? I remember my first one. I wasn't sure that I was gonna be making this so often, which has led to some good stuff, but also it's been hard to keep it going. But I enjoy it as well. This is gonna be inked digitally, as I said, and this is basically just like the raw drawing for this. I like drawing it like in this way because I feel like I have more connection with the piece this way. I don't know how to explain it in any other way. It's like you get more like more excited about it. You have more feelings for the piece, even though it's just like fan art or whatever. But it's like you feel more in how to like go about the piece. For me, it's like that. Like I have more connection with my art in traditional rather than digital. Digital, I love adding effects, like making the coloring and all that stuff because it's easier in the sense that you don't have to use a lot of resources. It's just either the iPad or the Wacom or the Huion tablet or whatever. But here, like adding different layers of materials and making this exist and have this original drawing here for me is like I feel like it's more exciting. Sam says I also found more freedom in traditional, especially in the sketching phase. Exactly. That's what I recommend the most. Like find your freedom in your drawings, because it's always gonna be a different sensation. You can make a lot of stuff, don't get me wrong, in digital without passing through this phase, but even if it's like something official or whatever, I try it up and make it as traditional as possible because I don't know. I feel like I can make better decisions like this and then just edit it and make the final piece in digital if I have to. If not, I could stick with the traditional until the end. Exactly. Yes, there's no input lag in traditional. And if you sell pieces like I do, because I always have original art for sale on my either my websites or if you ask me and for a commission or whatever, this is another piece that I have, right? And with the art reps get these pieces and they take them to shows and people can see them. It's like also like very gratifying to see people like, oh, this is like made with pencils and stuff. Yeah, it's real. It's the real deal. We're 42 minutes in. We're not gonna be making another drawing. But at least we have a finished one. And also when you draw these types of like shadow mappings on your drawings, you also get a better sense of volume before drawing any lines because I feel that drawings can get a little bit stiff or they can get like boring without having proper structure. So when you make these and you have all of this chaos, it adds to the piece, it makes it alive. Like you have more, there's more to see. Even though it's chaotic, remember this is not a final piece, so but it can be a piece to, it's like you can enjoy a lot of an unfinished drawing if there's so much like going on in the pieces, like, oh, what is going on, right? Thanks, Tony. 40 minutes. Like I lose sense of time here in the lives because I'm taking like consideration on what I'm gonna say. Sometimes I get distracted with my own thoughts. But I feel we're getting somewhere with this drawing. You see, now I can add these types of lines where they add volume, they add intensity. And it's easier, believe me, it's easier to make final lines with another pencil rather than with a pen. They get very stiff. So if you're trying to make your drawing as dynamic as possible at the beginning and to not lose this, like use a pencil that is like, this is a B, it's for bold, but it's also like really strong. Like it doesn't smudge a lot. It's very sturdy as well. So you get a lot of mileage for a pencil like this and line art. It feels almost like a mechanical pencil, but not like a mechanical, because mechanical pencils can tend to be like very sharp because of the tip, but this one has like a lot of range. Yeah. Yeah, so we have, let's make another path of light to exactly know where our shadows are gonna be. Like this is also gonna be the light area. I'm gonna be drawing where the core shadows are gonna be. Like your lines come out smoothly in the sense like that you want them to be smooth or you want them to be sharper. If you want sharp lines, I would always like, if these are very hard to get like here in the western side of the world. But if you like, you can always grab a mechanical pencil, right, and get maybe a 0.5, 0.7, and just make. You can also make very good lines with those. Here I just used this material because I wanted to show how I was making the process of separating the light and the shadow through the whole piece, like how to plan and how to make it look professional right off the bat, like planning the whole thing, right? Like you make a thumbnail and you're like, oh, this is a drawing. But yeah, but if you know exactly how it's gonna turn out before you even render it like this, it's easier for you to just go at it and be like, make a sketch, make the shadow, the render, and just pass it into digital and just make the effects, and that's gonna take a lot less time from your process. Yeah, it depends. Like if you want like a smooth pencil is also really good, like especially for gesture. Baku says, I always transfer my pencil drawings and try to color them before the inking line work. Yeah, that's also a really good process, right? Making the whole thing before line art also adds a lot of character as well to the piece. I have both on my process, like some pieces that I just make the drawing in pencil and I just go after with some Copics, with some Olo markers, any type of alcohol markers on top. And then if I need to add like certain depth to the piece with some line, I do use some of these the microns, right? Like this kind of stuff. Oh, this is not a micron, sorry. This is a micron. Especially this one's like the plastic nibs, like these are strong. Sup, Cecilio? You're joining in when we are 10 minutes to finish, but yeah. Thanks for joining in. Co-Spirit says, I love traditional. I try to mix of both traditional and digital. Yeah, that's what I do the most of the time, right? Like I make my thumbnails. If it's gonna be like for a cover, I make my lines in traditional. Then they like, oh, they go after it, like they check it out. Is it good? It's okay. You can move, like you can make something that is like more aligned to our process, and then I make a better drawing into traditional after that. And if it needs some like intense change to the point that I have to draw another one, well, I most of the time I make it digital. But if not, I just make the changes in digital, like, and afterwards I do ink it in traditional. Like I print it and I ink it there. Then I scan those lines and make the final piece in digital. I rarely make. Well, I think I've never done it. I've never colored a piece for published work in traditional. That's mostly for commissions. Tony Ariano says, because usually with my kind of pencil, I tend to use dark lines without realizing it. And then with a regular pencil, it's more easier to use, especially for gesture. Yeah, but also remember, like, you have to be aware of the pressure you're applying with your pencil, right? Like, this is considered finished. I'm just gonna change the whole thing, and let's see the difference of making a line. Which one? This is better. Yeah. Like if you use your lines like these, like this. Sorry. This is gonna be of way more smoother than doing this, right? You can see the difference between these two lines. And if you use it like stronger like this, like you shouldn't be drawing with a pressure like this. This is too strong. So when you're making gesture, like that, you tend to be faster and make less mistakes because you're not applying a lot of pressure. So you're thinking your lines beforehand. Then you can apply more pressure, not the full pressure. You see, like I'm using this before I use this kind of line. Now I'm using this one, and afterward, if I want to, I can apply the final and darker line with the extra pressure. It's very important to keep that in mind. The pressure that we use to draw. Because in traditional and digital, you can make a lot of stuff to make your drawing work with the pressure that you apply. Like you can change the opacity and stuff, but in traditional, it's like you have to be very, very careful with your lines. Just grab like this. Even with this brush pen, I'm applying light pressure. That's why I don't erase. If you see, like I rarely erase. It's because I'm using light pressure, so I have to change something. It's usually not dark enough to be like an obstacle for me to just draw on top of it. You see, you use faster lines, not too thick, not too dark, just lighter. It's just a matter of, okay, what am I doing? What is my goal with this drawing, right? But it's always keeping it light. And you don't get as tired. Even with heads or whatever, it's the same thing. At thank you, Thunder Fox. At what moment did you think you feel like your art style felt like your own? I feel like it's still like a mixture of a lot of stuff. Yeah, it's faster. Like if you draw like this, or depends, right? It's also it also depends with the size of the paper, the surface you're working on. But like if I'm drawing like this, on a continuous line, I love to draw with continuous lines. It took me a while to master it, but I feel like it's like, I don't know, it feels I'm just gonna grab like a pen to make these lines. Even with the inking, you can be fast if the drawing underneath has the flow. You can use it as a real good base, but you have to trust your lines a lot to make this. But the thing, the good thing is that we're drawing, right? We're not making any like danger to society or whatever. Like we're no doctors. Like if you make this wrong, someone is gonna go, right? It's a matter of just try it again, try again, try again. It's not the end of the world if you make a mistake. So you can try a lot of ways. A lot of comic work is done like this, like very fast because of the deadlines. Right? So it's a sense like this. Exactly. Repetition, but always trying to find an optimal way for yourself. Like finding shapes. What makes Ryu different from Kami? Right? The shape of the head, the shape of the eyes. The more you draw it, the faster you get. And the best and the better you recognize certain patterns right off the bat. It's like, this makes a difference. If I do this, it's gonna look like that. Blah 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 blah. Right? It's like, thanks, Sergio. Let's see, right? Her hat makes it really easy to recognize the character. Is using continue like not like lifting the pencil from the paper? Yeah. Sometimes you use it like a chisel and you have to lift your pencil. Depends. It depends on the subject. But for bodies, like for human bodies, it's I find it like really useful for the gesture, especially. Exactly. So imagine now that I'm gonna use the other side. I don't care. We're past 2 minutes. Ooh. We're gonna be making a little bit more drawings, but just to make this principle work. Oh, yeah. So let's say we have like the difference between certain characters, right? We're gonna be using this head for one character. We're gonna be using this head for another one, and this. So imagine we use that line to the center line, the T line, but going downwards, even though it's not like the character's not looking that not like super down, right? And we're gonna be using this, blah blah blah. Okay. So let's say I use this mask. And I already know what I'm gonna be drawing. So I'm gonna be drawing Kuma, right? So these continuous lines are only making like a pattern that I have in my head, which won't be the final drawing. Remember that. This is just the undersketch, which is the most important part about any drawing. It's understanding what is beneath. So using shape language, using gesture. Oh no, this tip is falling apart. You see, we got Akuma real fast, right? Because we know our goal. So the more you know your subject, the easier it is to use a continuous line, because it's like a combo, it's like a dance, it's like a cursive, like you're just going with the flow. But to go with the flow, you have to understand a little bit of the map, right? Of the track, you may say. Like if you're playing Mario Kart, the more you go through it, the more patterns you recognize, and the faster you can make some certain stuff, and you learn the curves and whatever. Same thing. No. Now I have Honda. And let's see. I'm gonna start with the hair here. I tend to go for a more like now I have Sakura. Alright. So in a sense, now if we go with the brushman, which is the more like the final lines that we have here. And we just use certain parts of the lines, right? What artist influenced you the most? Bengas, Kino Nishimura. Right now, also Dan Mora. Back in the day, a lot of Alvin Lee used to work with. Udon. Well, who else? Kim Jong-gi, Akira Toriyama, a little bit of Yusuke Murata, Kazuki Takahashi from Yu-Gi-Oh! Rest in peace. Also, Mr. Kim Jong-gi. Rest in peace. And a lot more. Right now is also Luis La Rosa. There's so many. Gerald Perel. I forget his name, but it's the guy who drew Tenkaichi, the manga. You see, we use simple sketches and we can part from there, right? If you know how to make like continuous lines and you're sure about what you're drawing, like even inking like this becomes a less daunting task.
There's a lot of gray areas right now. Sometimes I fall for doom scrolling because of it.
Yeah. It's hard to stop, right? If you change the how you're holding the brush, and you can make bolder traces. The brush strokes become way more defined, right? It's a matter of, okay, so how do we make this going? And if you want to make, like, look from the top, you have to always have to keep in consideration the ear placement, that the ear is always going to be going to the top of the eyebrow to the bottom of the nose. So making that already makes a lot of gesture drawings faster. Yeah, it's fun. This way it's fun because if you make a mistake, it's easier to correct. But if you like nail it right out, like right off the bat, you go way faster than usual. And if the drawing is just like practice and such, like there's no problem on making like extra lines that you're gonna be there. Maybe you're not gonna be using them, but they do help a lot on the moment of getting like tempo, right? Adds a lot of tempo to your drawings. Listen, knowing the shape helps a lot. Well, this this was our live session. Sorry for ending it so abruptly, but we extended a little bit. We extended 16 minutes more than I thought that was going to be making. We're going to be making just an hour, but this is what we did. We did the X-Men vs Street Fighter 2 poster, right? We have Ryu versus Wolverine thing here in extreme perspective, like wow, right? And we made this headshots. Akuma, Honda, Sakura, random guy, Ryu, and the other drawings that we did just to apply like the pressure drawing, like drawing with light pressure versus, you remember, medium pressure, hard pressure, extreme hard pressure. Don't do that because it also affects the surface of your paper. So doing that will always create like crevices on your surface, and you're not gonna be liking it, especially if you're gonna be adding extra colors and a lot of stuff. So I really recommend understanding the pressure sensitivity of your hand. Okay, so we're gonna be making another live probably in 2 weeks, maybe next week, but I'm not 100% sure yet. But this is gonna be the end of this one. Thank you so much for joining in. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for helping us reach 1,000 subscribers. We are so happy and so grateful with you guys. We're gonna be making more content for you. We're gonna be making a lot of drawings, and we're gonna be making a lot of recording of those using the thumbnails, using line arts, colors, a lot of stuff. So thank you for everyone, and see you next time.